I would like to say thank you to everyone here, and thanks for all that you've poured into me throughout my life and in this great journey. I'd also like to say there's a fella at the back, his name is Hans, and Hans has been with me along this journey from the first time of discernment all the way through. So we brought him in this morning so he has a clear passage. And now that he knows the way, if you'd like to invite him to take the journey himself, I'm sure that would be great. The context of our presentations are the changes going on in our much-loved United Church. These shifts means that things will function differently and our experiences of church life will change. And our changes and these changes have the possibility of moving us toward the holy because they separate us from all else. They strip us down. They move us in the direction of Jesus. In 1 Thessalonians, Paul says, "May God himself, the God of peace, sanctify or make us holy, make you holy through and through." And we have to believe that even in these times, that's what God's about. Here are some shifts that I am experiencing that are happening in my life and that kind of encapsulate who I am and where I'm going and in the midst of all this. My first shift is from book to a balloon, and I think of these in terms of metaphors or in terms of objects. Book to balloon. This is a shift away from the organizational stuff that I've learned, the disciplines of boardroom and mission, vision, value statements and goals and programs and inputs and outputs and results, and to a shift to something more akin to prayer and worship and meditation. And my wife and I have found this wonderful discipline called pilgrimage, which is going for these long prayerful walks to a place of prayer. Although we may be very busy, it seems that we will never be more influential than our devotional life will support. I think of this shift as moving from book to balloon because rather than having information at my fingertips, I find asking myself, am I full? Like the balloon, is the pressure, is the thing going on inside of me greater than the pressures that surround me? Our primary task then in this shift is to build our inner world. A world that will exert influence back against the life pressures engulfing us. And I ask myself, instead of saying, am I ready, I say, am I full? The second shift that I think I'm seeing and in wider picture is the shift from dress shoes to running shoes. The dress shoes to running shoes. Our old pastor, Reverend Fred, came into the office. And as you know through the little bio, I've been in Tilsonburg in Avondale United Church for about 7 months now. So Fred came back and wanted to talk, and so we all gathered together, and he wonderfully bought donuts and everything, so we were all talking. And our church administrator, Kim, is known to be one of those people who is always dressed wonderfully appropriately. Wonderfully. And Fred and I, we were all together, and Fred all of a sudden blurts out, "Kim, you're wearing running shoes." And she just, in a quick humorous second, blurts back, "Fred, it's a new day." You see, it is a new day. This shift has a lot of examples. It's the examples from dress shoes to running shoes, from office to kitchen, from desk to table, from the altar cloth to the tablecloth, from the pulpit front piece to the kitchen towel. And as we move toward where we live through this paradigm of service, we're drawn into this active engagement with our world. I've heard it said that ministers live in ivory towers, but I'm discovering that we really live better in synthetic running shoes. There's so much to do and so many opportunities to engage in, and each engagement is this active, bodily, personally intertwined opportunity for Christian witness. The third shift, I think, that I'm seeing and experiencing and says something about who I am and where I'm going is from page to screen. We used to all have our own page in our own hymn book, and now we're moving towards one screen. True story. Our young son entered St. John United Church, and our ministry before that was in an inner city church, and young Jeremy had never seen a hymn book in his, young life, right? I mean, he's been in the presence for one, but he just didn't see it. But anyway, about our third week at St. John United, Jeremy's sitting there, and he grabs the big red hymn book, and he starts to leaf through it, and he says, "What a great idea, putting all these songs into one book." And, true story. But our technology, it seems, and particularly our projection screen, at the front of our Avondale sanctuary anyway, means that Sunday worship service is more visibly communal, more like a sacrament in itself. Paul argued for unity in 1 Corinthians. He says, "Because there's one loaf, we who are many are one body, for we all share one loaf." I would suggest to you that a modern way of saying that is something like, because we have one screen, we who are many are one body, for we all sing from the same screen. From hymn book to projection screen, we celebrate this shift from individualism to community through like this sacramental-like experience that technology can foster. Well, my ministry at Avondale anyway is like 7 months old, so it's way too young to say anything really. But I see these shifts within myself and within others and within our ministry and within our church. These shifts are movements towards Jesus in devotion, in service, and in community. And I think they're ways to capture an essence of our ministry. From wherever we begin, from wherever I have begun, I see this shift towards God's presence as an answer for the pressures of life for myself and others. I see a shift towards being ready for a very day of demands as symbolized by wearing of running shoes with our dress clothes. And I see a shift towards technology that emulates and facilitates this sacramental being together, this grace-filled life communion. And in these movements, in these shifts, I feel closer to Jesus. And I would like to help others feel closer to Jesus too. Thank you.